Character clash. Ready?
Round 1.
Physical skills.
Slender Man has no visible muscles. But who needs biceps when you can elongate your limbs a la the terrifying Luffy? He can elongate those appendages enough to make it look like he's always in the over 6 feet line. But when it comes to raw strength, well, unless the Powerpuff Girls are afraid of awkward stretches, he's at a bit of a disadvantage. I mean, he's more of a I have a disturbing silhouette guy than a weightlifter. While he's no Olympic athlete, his presence is enough to make anyone think twice about taking him on. But who needs muscles when you can terrify people just by showing up? Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup have the strength of a million angry gorillas, give or take. Punching giant monsters or stopping meteors is their hobby. So Slender Man would be like swatting a mosquito, albeit a very slim and graceful mosquito. They were literally born to be adorable machines of destruction. One slap from any of them could send Slender Man back to his dark corner of the internet. They look like if Hulk had a jetpack, but with a sweet little girl face.
Round 2.
Combat skills.
Slender Man isn't one to throw punches, but the guy has one impeccable tactic: stalking. He hides in the shadows, manipulates minds, and only reveals himself when it's too late. His tactic is to get the Powerpuff Girls to fight each other before they even touch him. And even if he doesn't use karate, having the ability to instill fear is already a pretty effective strategy. Plus, his face, or lack thereof, is scarier than a well-placed kick. His paranormal abilities make him capable of appearing behind you when you least expect it. However, his combat ability is limited to "I'll stare and I'll leave a cryptic note on your desk." Not bad for a Tinder date, but in a real fight, his stalking skills would make even the bravest of us wet ourselves. The girls are a perfect fighting machine that would make Mojo Jojo tremble. Trained since kindergarten, they don't need stealth when they can destroy buildings with one punch. However, their fighting style is more direct and explosive. They tend to make a lot of noise with all the chaos they create. Although Slender can teleport, the girls have coordination that would make an Olympic gymnastics team look clumsy. You can't be stealthy when you announce yourself with a rainbow trail. But hey, if you can fly and are faster than the speed of light, why hide?
Round 3.
Survival skills.
Survival is his thing. How long has he been lurking in the woods? Years? Decades? Centuries, probably. He doesn't need to eat, sleep, or charge his iPhone, which gives him an advantage. Nothing seems to faze him. Bullets? Fire? Anyone tried? Slender Man doesn't need to eat, sleep, or pay rent, making him a master of survival. His ability to survive and adapt to different environments makes him extremely difficult to take down. But can he really survive 3 superpowered girls? The Powerpuff Girls can survive nuclear explosions. Not only do they survive, but they do it with style. Their endurance is superhuman, and they can take a punch that would leave Superman crying in the fetal position. Plus, they have the advantage of being protected by Dr. Utonium and the entire city of Townsville. Survival isn't something they have to think about much. Nature designed them to kick ass and keep smiling. But what about a psychological horror that forces you to confront your own deepest fears?
Round 4.
Unprepared.
Without warning, the fear factor is decisive here. Although he can disappear and teleport, the Powerpuff Girls aren't that easy to scare. They're used to facing monsters before breakfast. Slender tries to remember where he left his cryptic notes, and as soon as he tried his trick of mysteriously appearing, he'd probably get a wham! In the face. After all, it's not every day that they face a tall, faceless monster with tentacles that slither across the floor. But once Bubbles stops crying and Buttercup gets furious, poor Slender Man would end up hanging from a tree again. Still, he'd get his moment of fright. The skinny guy with weird tentacles would appear behind them, and before Blossom could say battle plan, they'd be running around in circles like headless chickens. To be fair, the girls are used to enemies that strike without warning, but facing a guy with no face might throw them off for a few seconds, and those seconds in a fight can make all the difference. In the end, though, a laser beam or a kick to the tentacle would probably do the trick. A couple of supersonic punches, and the mysterious faceless man would be eager to go back to his forest to reflect on his life of horror. Of course, the lack of a face helps him hide his fear. But the problem with Slender Man is that you're not supposed to hit him, and you can't see clearly or understand. In that sense, they'd be like blind in a forest. Literally.
Round 5.
With preparation.
Given time to prepare, Slender Man would play mental chess. He'd appear in the girls' nightmares, slowly chipping away at their morale. Maybe he'd even write them some cryptic notes like, "You can't beat what you can't understand." He'd have to be careful, though. The Powerpuff Girls have their strategy, too. If he managed to separate them, he could unleash his terror tactics one by one, making Blossom hesitate, Buttercup furious, and Bubbles, well, more scared than usual. But still, he'd need more than spooky trees and video distortions to hold off 3 mini-goddesses of destruction. You know he's coming, but how do you mentally prepare for a being that attacks you from inside your brain? The girls may have plans, but he only needs one intrusive thought to crumble everything. With preparation, the girls would show no mercy. With a healthy dose of sugar, spice, and everything nice, Blossom would probably come up with a plan, Buttercup would sharpen her punches, and Bubbles would bring along her stuffed animal for company. Between the 3 of them, the plan would basically be a more elaborate version of what they already know how to do. Beat up Slender Man until he regrets leaving the forest. Plus, they can coordinate attacks and play off their speed, making it nearly impossible for the Slender to sneak past. Blossom would devise a plan to thwart any attempts at mind manipulation. Maybe some device with flashing lights? Though Buttercup would probably still insist on hitting first and asking questions later. With Blossom in charge and Bubbles for emotional support, they'd be prepared for any supernatural tricks.
Round 6.
General data.
Slender Man. Physical skills 9. Combat skills 6. Survival skills 10. Unprepared 8. With preparation 7. Total 39. The Powerpuff Girls, the main girls. Physical skills 9. Combat skills 8. Survival skills 7. Unprepared 9. With preparation 9. Total 42.
Final round.
Conclusion.
While Slender Man has his touch of psychological terror and ability to move undetected, the Powerpuff Girls are in a different league when it comes to raw power. But in this case, they would change their plan differently. Analyzing it, he would end up realizing that they would probably barely tickle him if they continued like this. Of course, if she plays her cards right and brings them into her environment, like a dark forest where their minds can be manipulated, she might have an advantage, but only for a while. The Powerpuff Girls are in a whole other league when it comes to being able to improvise raw madness. Slender Man might be able to stretch out his tentacles and create an atmosphere of terror, but the girls have taken down far more terrifying creatures. Of course, if she plays her cards right and brings them into her environment like a dark forest where their minds can be manipulated, she might have an advantage, but only for a while. Plus, their teamwork spirit makes it nearly impossible to divide them, which is essential for Slender Man to take advantage of his strengths. Their power is simply overwhelming for a creature that, while terrifying, specializes more in stalking unsuspecting teenagers than taking on 3 tiny, superpowered destroyers. They emerge victorious, proving that teamwork and bravery always triumph over terror. Not only physically strong, but emotionally and mentally powerful as well. In the end, the Faceless Man is left with only one option: find a new dimension to disappear before Buttercup delivers the final blow. As always, evil has no place in Townsville or the woods nearby.
Not so fast!
Do you agree with the result? And if not, tell me why. If you like this video, please subscribe, like and share.